Hey friends, welcome to week 9 of art class. Since it's career week, we are going to be doing a very cool lesson that involves careers. First, I'm going to talk to you about some different careers in art. Then we're going to create a transformation. Remember that word transformation? It means when one thing turns into something else of ourselves into the type of job we want someday. There's so many different ways you can incorporate art in a job. You could be a toy designer. Every toy that you own, did you know that somebody had to come up with that idea? They had to come up with what colors it was. They probably had to come up with sketches of what it would look like before they made it. Whoever engineered the toy needed help from an artist to come up with the design, whether it's shiny, whether it sparkles, whether it's fluffy. Artists had to come up with all of these things. Every single one of your toys had something to do with an artist. An architect. Architects are artists who design buildings. They'll make models, they'll draw up plans, and they'll create sketches to help engineers figure out how they're going to do things. Fashion designers, did you know that every piece of clothing you have ever worn was designed by someone? Somebody had to come up with an idea. There's a good chance that they drew a picture of what it might look like. Then they had to find the fabric and see, do I want it to be fuzzy fabric? Do I want it to be shiny? Somebody had to make every single piece of clothing that you're wearing before you ever saw it. I know a lot of you guys love video games, and every video game you ever play had to have an artist coming up with ideas. They had to design the characters. They had to design the backgrounds. Somebody had to go in and figure out what color everything was going to be. What do all of the shadows look like when the character moves? The computer program can move it once you draw it, but somebody has to come up with the idea first. Another thing that artists do is special effects makeup. Anytime you watch a movie and somebody looks a little bit different from what they normally would, that's because an artist had to help them do their makeup. You guys can see a couple of characters from Avengers here. Somebody had to create those masks and makeup, and they had to get that done every day while they were on set. So there's artists who work for movies to do this kind of thing. CGI. Anytime you watch a movie and there's something that is not real, like Yoda's glowing lightsaber or any of the backgrounds in the Avengers movies, an artist had to make those things. They had to design what Yoda's lightsaber would look like, how the light would look when it was hitting his face. They had to come up with what Wakanda looked like, because Wakanda isn't a real place and it's in our imagination. So they had to design it and come up with what it would look like, as well as a lot of different scenes that you see that are in places that aren't actually real. Concept artists. Now, this is the kind of art I love to do. These are the artists who come up with ideas for characters before they are made. So before Aang from Avatar Last Airbender could be created, or any of the characters from Big Hero 6 or How to Train Your Dragon, somebody had to sketch and come up with ideas for what colors the characters would be, what they would look like, how they would move. And once they created those sketches, then the animators can make those characters come to life. So yes, animators are the artists who take the concept art that someone created and they make it move all over the place so they can help design all kinds of movies. So any movie that you've seen that has something that's not real, it has something to do with an artist who helped animate it. Now, a last one that is a little different is advertisement. Anytime you see a sign that's trying to get you to buy something, an artist had to be hired to make that sign. So whether it's a movie or a type of food or a restaurant, an artist had to come up with the idea and draw that picture, or come up with a sketch for what that cup was going to look like, or the toys. There's so many things you can do in art. Now, I know not everybody is going to have a career in art, and that's fine because we are in a world where we need people who do all kinds of different things, like doctors, nurses, engineers, teachers. And so, if you don't want to do anything in art, that's okay too, because there's so many things that you can do with your life. So, what we're going to do in art today is we're going to be using Seesaw to create a transformation again. And those of you who don't use Seesaw, like some of my kinder kids, we will be using a pencil and paper. First, let's look at a few different ideas of how you could dress yourself or your room to make it look like you are in a certain career. You are going to go over to activities where that little light bulb is. And in activities, what I want you to do is you are going to scroll down and click this green add a response button that'll be at the bottom of your assignment. Once you click add an assignment, you'll get to this part. Now, if you were just starting and doing a drawing, you would click the pencil. But today, since we're doing a transformation, we are going to click on photo. All right, so now you get to take a picture. Alrighty, now my silly picture, I'm going to transform it. So you guys probably remember our last transformation lesson. It's been a while. We did it back in December. This time, we are going to transform ourselves into the thing that we want to do when we grow up. So I'm going to start by covering up my background. So I'm going to switch to this pen tool, make it nice and big, pick the color I want my background to be. I think I'll do it green. And notice I'm very carefully tracing around my face. All right, now that I've covered up my background, I'm ready to start transforming myself. Now, since I'm an art teacher, I'm going to make myself look more like what I would look like in the classroom. So I think I'm going to give myself an apron since I want to pretend that we're painting. So I'm going to change the size. Start giving myself an apron down here. Remember, our rule for digital art is it makes your life a lot easier if you color first, then add details. That's why I'm coloring my apron first before I add the pocket with the art tools, because that will make it a lot easier when I'm drawing. So I'm just adding some colors that I think I would want in my dream classroom. You guys could add the colors that you think would be in the place where you'd work someday. Would it be inside? Would it be outside? Would it be lots of different places? I don't know. Something that may help when you are drawing is clicking on this button that says Shapes. Then you can draw straight lines, which I have a hard time with, or you can also add different shapes to your picture. If you guys want, you can even design your own mask if you want to wear, if you're going to need to wear a mask at work. I probably will have to use one when we go back, so I'll go ahead and design one for myself. If you're working on tiny details and it's really hard to do, you can zoom in. What you do is you will click on the magnifying glass, and then that will help you to zoom in and work on those tiny details. All right, here are your objectives. Number 1, I can take a photo of myself using Seesaw and transform it using at least 3 different tools. Number 2, I can color the big area first, then add details on top. En español, número 1. Yo puedo tomar una foto de mí mismo y transformarlo usando al menos 3 herramientas diferentes en seesaw. Número 2. Yo puedo primero colorear el área grande y luego agregar detalles en la parte superior. For my students who are either having technical difficulties or unable to use Seesaw at the moment, here is what we're going to do. We're going to practice drawing ourselves and then adding those details to make it look like we're in that special job. Start with a pencil, that way you can erase if you need to. If you're in Seesaw, you can always erase all the marks you make. I'm going to start with a great big oval in the middle of my page. And it's kind of hard to see, so I'm going to use a different pencil for that. Now that I have my oval, I need to figure out where all of the parts of my face go. Believe it or not, your eyes are actually right in the middle, so we're going to find the middle of the oval. We're going to draw a really light line. That way we know where the middle is. And we're going to do the same thing up and down. Don't worry if your lines aren't perfectly straight. This is just to help you. Alrighty. Now, on each side of that middle line, on top of this one, we're going to do a little rainbow shape. Once you draw that rainbow shape, you're ready to finish with that almond shape. So you do a smiley face to connect the rainbow, making it look like it's got that eye shape. Now the eyes look a little scary when they're not full of anything, so what we can do is we can erase our line, and then we're going inside of the eye to do a C and a backward C. You guys have probably practiced eyes with me at this point, so I'm not too worried about too much. But a C and a backward C, so it looks like the very top and the very bottom of your eye is covered up, so you don't have that full circle. Now, inside we draw the pupil. That letter C. You can always leave that one little spot shiny. Above the eyes, we have that little crease where our eyelid folds. If you want to add eyelashes, you can. And eyebrows. We actually look really funny as humans without eyebrows. So I'm going to go in and draw some eyebrows over the top. Now we need to find out where our nose and mouth is. So we need to find the middle between our eyes and our chin. So let's see, I think this is about the middle. So I'm going to draw a tiny little line. And that little line is where the bottom of my nose is going to be. Noses are really weird, so the more simple we keep it, the better. So I'm just doing a little line, a curve here. And then if you want to do a little C and backward C or parentheses, you can. If you want to add more details, you can, but I'd keep their nose as simple as possible. Under the nose, of course, goes the mouth. There's lots of different ways to draw mouths, but the way I like doing it is I'll start with a line, then I'll do the shape of the lips, almost like a bird on top and another smile on the bottom. Of course, you guys then can start making this person look a little more like you. I can see that my oval's a little crooked, so I'm going to change it a little bit. If you have short hair, you can draw short hair. Don't forget your ears. If you have long hair, you can draw long hair. For your neck, make sure it's a curved line, because believe it or not, we usually don't have straight lines for our necks. Of course, if you don't want your eyes to look as girly, you can do smaller eyelashes. You can do thinner lips. It is up to you guys. Then, when you're ready to make yourself look like whatever you're going to be, think about what you'd be wearing. Would you be wearing a hat? Would you have some kind of a helmet or special gear on? I don't know. It's up to you guys. Here's some pictures of different types of careers and what people might dress like. Now that I have an idea of how I want to dress myself for my career day portrait, I'm going to go ahead and go over it with a marker. If you want to add shadows to your face and your other details, you can. You don't have to though. You can watch how I add shadows to make my face look a little bit more three-dimensional.